I've asked Major Tim Phelps to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the July 17th, 2014 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I have the honor to serve as chair of the commission this year and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2, and Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Let's get started. First item.
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
I have no questions regarding the consent agenda.
I know there was an article in the Capital Journal about the capers and the KP&F increases, and I looked at those, and the employee contribution is actually going up about 16%, and the employer contribution is going up about 7%, and there's no increase in benefits. That's essentially to address the unfunded actuarial liability that capers had. And to me, this is an example of making promises that can't be kept. It's not well funded. It's not as bad as many states, but there are a lot of challenges in continuing to fund capers and pay out benefits. So anyway, did you make that's a little added benefit this morning, since I know it's a slow news day.
I would note that last week our unemployment contribution rate did decrease. So
Good point.
we didn't make a news article about that, but I would move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, we have this morning vouchers that total $681,321.62. If I had to highlight some of the expenditures, we have a bridge project that came in for $23,000, Horizon Healthcare for $155,273.82, holding accounts to the state of Kansas for $38,304.78. IBM, which is through information technology, of $27,588. Parks and Rec, this voucher turn has $70,462.67. Again, the cost of doing business for Parks and Recreation. The Register of Deeds has $26,516.19 for the Secretary of State as an annual report that they have to contribute. Public Works for $27,000. And special counsel to the county for $51,261.98. But I think the real highlight is from district court, we have juror expenses of $20,635.87. Those represent 747 jurors that were called for duty over on this past voucher turn. So that contributes quite a bit of jury trials that are going and costs to the county. But those total up, those highlights are $440,043.31. I do not have any questions about the vouchers. I would move for their approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers as presented by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next.
There are no correction orders. Item B, emergency management number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 267-2014 with the Northeast Kansas Homeland Security Council for the transfer of a card printer and a required software key to Shawnee County with no direct cost to the county.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Sturbins, Emergency Management. This is part of the equipment that we use to create the identification that we do both our IDs and also the rapid tags with. It's from the Northeast Regional Council. There's no cost to the county. In fact, most of the supplies even that we use, other than the key cards that make door access, most of our cards are even provided through this grant. You're going to see a lot of these coming across in the near future. We've got some new computers and portable printers for our disaster response, and so those will be coming across before long too. I'll be glad to answer any other questions.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Sturbins?
I do not.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor to approve the contract, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B2, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 268-2014 with the American Red Cross for use of parks and recreation community centers during disasters and emergencies.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Sturbins again. This is a renewal of the contract that we've had for several years with the American Red Cross that was kind of off to the side. They're renewing them across our entire chapter area at this time. The original request went to Parks and Recreation. They passed it on to us since we would be more involved with the actual disaster itself. What this does is allows us to use the county facilities, if we're not busy with something else, as a shelter in a time of a disaster. So this isn't pre-storm, this is all after storm when we're trying to help our citizens out. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Questions or comments for Mr. Sturbins?
I have none. I'd move for approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next
you,
item, please.
Commissioners.
Thank you, David.
Item C, corrections. Number 1, consider approval of request to negotiate with Aramark Correctional Services for the provision of commissary services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Phelps, Department of Corrections. The Commission gave us permission to issue an RFP for commissary services. We got 3 very strong bids from probably the 3 heavy hitters across the country in commissary services. We have, for the last 9 years, been using Keefe Commissary Group, and they have done well, but things change, the market shifts, the technology advances, and it became quite a battle amongst the titans there. And we believe that Aramark brought to the table a significantly better overall package. So we want to now go into a negotiation with them to fine-tune what they will provide if you will authorize us to do so.
Questions or comments about the request? A motion then.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item D.
Thank you, Major.
Item D, Information Technology. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 269-2014 with Sirius to add the mainframe Shark F20 disk drive array to an existing hardware support maintenance agreement to provide support for 1 year at a cost of $22,902.12.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pat O'Blender with the Information Technology Department. This is basically a renewal of a contract with the same vendor that we've used in the past for the same amount of money, so it's a straight across the board renewal of an existing contract. This Shark F28 disk array is the drive array component for the mainframe. It's where all of the data is stored that the mainframe uses for all of its functioning. It's a critical component. We do have to have maintenance on that, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding this request.
Questions or comments?
I don't have any. I would move approval of the adding the Shark F20 disk drive array to the maintenance contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Pat. Next item.
Item E, Audit Finance. Number 1, update on revenues and expenditures.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Financial Administrator. I have for you the snapshot view of our financial overview for June 30 of 2014. I will start out with the revenue side, and we'll look at revenues as in a total, and then go into the different categories. As you can see, our year-to-date total revenue is $86,251,000 compared to our budget of $82,873,000. So we are $3,377,000 over budget year to date. That represents, as I usually do, I will tell you that represents 3% over budget. So even though that's a significant amount, that over budget amount represents 3% of our total estimated revenues. And you can also see for this same time period in 2013, our total was $78,989,000. You can also see by this chart the different categories. By far, the largest category is property taxes, which is this blue portion there, and that represents 80% of our total revenue. I will point out that in June we received our second large payment or large distribution for property taxes. Those are the property taxes that are paid in May, and we received that distribution in June. So we have completed the majority of our distributions now for property taxes. We will have some additional ones, but those two, the one in January and the one in June, are the majority of it. You can also see then we have special assessments here, and then other taxes, property-related fees, charges for services, and miscellaneous revenue. And we'll look at each of those categories individually. If I go back one more, we did have a very positive month of June compared to our budget. Our variance for June over budget was $1,007,000. I will go into that, how that breaks down between the categories as I go through each category. So if we look at the property taxes here, you can see our year-to-date property taxes are $69,353,000 compared to a budget of $67,958,000. So we actually have received $1,394,000 above budget, which tells us that our delinquencies are down this year, which is obviously a good thing. Just for the June distribution, we were $445,000 over budget for our June distribution. If we go to special assessments, we have a different picture in that one. Our year-to-date receipts is $3,678,000 compared to our budget of $4,043,000. So we are year-to-date $365,000 under budget on special assessments, and for June, our variance was we were under budget $141,000. So that represents the delinquencies and the special assessments. If we go to other taxes, you can see our actual is $4,664,000 compared to budget of $4,021,000. So we are year-to-date $642,000 over budget. Just for the month of June, we are $266,000 over budget, and that comes from that June distribution and primarily from the motor vehicle tax. We had received a really low estimate from the state for for our motor vehicle taxes for the year of 2014, and that appears to have been a little too low. Okay, if we go to our property-related fees, we have received $1,253,000 compared to $1,142,000. So we are $110,000 over budget. Now, just for the month of June, we were actually $157,000 under budget, and most of that was in mortgage registration fees. That's one of those things, though, that's kind of hard to budget by month because it just depends on when mortgages are registered. But as I said, we are still over budget year to date. The next category is charges for services. And on this one, year-to-date, we're pretty much right on budget because we are 11,000 over budget year-to-date on that. We are actually down a little bit in the month of June on these, but it was pretty much spread between different categories, different departments. But as you see, we're pretty much right on budget on that category. And then we have our miscellaneous revenue category. We have received $3,872,000 compared to our budget of $2,289,000. So we are $1,583,000 over budget year-to-date. Just for the month of June, we are over budget $650,000. And the majority of that is a clawback that we received in the month of June for $512,000. And you can tell that these are items that come in throughout the year. We had a defeasance, which was like $500,000. We've had this clawback. Those types of things that you really cannot budget for, but they are just nice items to come into the county, and that will, go towards the general fund balance at the end of the year. Okay, if we go on to the expenditure side, you can tell our expenditures year-to-date are $43,994,000 compared to budget of $45,562,000. So we are under budget $1,567,000. That represents 1.6% of our total budget for the year. For the month of June, we lost a little ground for the month of June. We were actually over budget by $215,000 for the month of June. But there again, so many times these are a timing issue. We set our monthly budgets based on what we anticipate, and it can be a timing issue between one month and another that makes that difference. But as I said, we are still 1.6% under budget for the year. Okay, this chart just kind of shows you the different categories, and the blue on the bottom is public safety, judicial, and emergency services. That represents 46% of our expenditures year to date. The red is public works. That represents 7%. Public health and human services is 10%. Recreation and culture is 18%. Debt service, this little blue, is 3%, and operational services is 16%. This chart just shows you by category, the categories that I talked about earlier. It just shows you that each category is either at or below their budget for the year. So our budget variance, where we under budget, is really spread through all of the different categories for the year. So I've said this several months, and it's nice to be able to say, because I have to really commend the whole county for working very hard to keep expenditures down and to watch every dollar. Any questions?
Very good. Questions for Betty? Commissioner?
When we talk about the charges for services, would those be primarily the services received from Parks and Recreation, or?
Well, it does include that. It also includes services from the detention facility, from the sheriff's office, really across the whole county.
Okay. All right. But we are we're almost at what we budgeted for the entire year, and we have.
No.
No.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you're
I should have
quarter.
explained that.
Okay,
The
thank
budget
you.
number is for this time period.
All right.
I spread that budget throughout the
All right.
year, and that is for the months of January through June.
Well, I'm still happy, but
Yes,
I
I
was-
apologize. I should have
I was gonna be
explained
a lot
that.
happier.
Good deal.
Yes, yeah.
So, all right, thank you.
Betty,
Commissioner
could you go over those percentages again?
Oh, sure.
You said 46% of the expenditures is public.
46%
Public
is for
safety.
public safety, judicial, and emergency services.
Okay.
Public works is 7%. Public health and human services is 10%. Recreation and culture is 18%. Debt service is 3%. And operational services is 16%.
Okay, thank you.
A couple of questions. We had a variance of 213,000 over in expenses
Yes.
for the month of June. Do you think that there may be a trend or a momentum to continue to go over expenses the rest of the year, or is it a one-time deal, or can we tell?
Well, at this point, we really can't tell.
Okay.
I'm not getting a sense that it is, a trend that we will see. There again, I think it's just a timing issue, but we really will need to wait in one more month and see.
Okay.
I think this is the first month that we have been over,
Okay.
over budget on expenses. So I think it may just be kind of a timing issue, but we'll, continue to watch that and see if there's a trend that develops.
Okay. Well, I just know how cautious Commissioner Cook is on these issues. It's interesting thinking back a year ago and going into budget, how much brighter our financial picture looks today. And I think it's, obviously, it's a combination of revenue increases, and it's a question of very, very tough budget cutting that we did a year ago. And now we're starting to see a payoff, and I think our budget picture is a lot brighter than it was a year ago. Anyway, thank you, Betty. Good report.
But there's a lot of the year left to go,
That's right.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
so.
Next item, please.
Item 5, administrative communications.
Administrative communications, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Steph.
Stephanie Mott, Office Assistant, County Commission Office. We have our blood drive tomorrow from 8:30 to 1:30, and anybody can donate. That you don't have to be a county employee. If somebody wants to sign up, they can contact me at 251-4040. We have lots of openings left.
Thank you,
So-
Steph. Before Randy comes up, I think he's going to talk a little bit more about it, but I attended the kickoff for the USSSA World Series Championship last night at TPAC, and this is fast pitch World Series Championship. There were 70 teams that came from all over the Midwest. It was really an impressive event, and with the players and the coaches and the parents, TPAC was full. And I just thoroughly enjoyed it. One of the things they did was they had a theme of Walt Disney, and each team came up and did a little parade over the stage in different outfits, and it was really an impressive event. And for the record, John Knight really did a good job portraying Dopey. So, it's all yours now.
Thank you. I enjoyed that. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. Just to touch base a little bit on last night, it was a great event. Commissioner, I don't know if you stayed long enough or if you were there for the entertainment, but it was Vaughn Smith. He appeared on American Idol. It wasn't my type of music, but evidently the teenage girls just loved it, and I guess I talked to MSP. He's performing at several other events in the future, so it was really a fun event. It's good to see the kids having a good time, and the ball games started early this morning and are playing on 2 different sites at Lake Shawnee on the girls and Bettis Complex, so public's welcome to come out. Also, I had the pleasure of attending last Monday the Shawnee County Baseball Hall of Fame. Had their second class of inductees. We inducted 3 players, Jim Golden, Terry Bettis, and Butch Neiman, and umpire Joe Oliva. They also inducted the first team, which was the 1947 Topeka High School Trojans, as they were the first state champion of Topeka. What was really neat of the event, I believe there was 4 gentlemen that played on that team that attended. There was many family members of other ones that have been deceased that showed up. We had about 150 people all together for the banquet. I thought it was a real special night for all the inductees, so just wanted to give you a heads up. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Sturbins from Emergency Management again. We talked about the Sunflower Games and the World Series of softball. Also is the Kansas State Water Ski Championships start at Lake Shawnee. Also Saturday morning at 8 o'clock and Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. If you want to watch people slalom, which is one ski, trick ski, which might be one or two skis, they do a lot of fancy stuff, and the jumping, which is usually after lunch. Those will be going on all day Saturday and until about 3 o'clock on Sunday. So you can come out and watch that too after the softball games.
Thank you, David. Anyone else? Commissioner Bueller,
I
anything?
don't have anything.
Okay, Commissioner
Thank
Cook?
you.
Of course, the fiesta is occurring right now.
Darn it.
Forgot that one, didn't you?
No, I had it written
Oh.
down. It was right there.
But more importantly, or I guess not more importantly, but along with the fiesta, we have the fair that's starting this weekend at the Expo Center. Again, we talk about the uses of the Expo Center and its importance to our community. The fair is an important one. It has the ability to showcase the activities of our youth and community members across the community and the county. And we do have a full schedule of events occurring at the fair.
That's right, and thanks for bringing that up. But, yeah, the past couple of years have been too hot for Fiesta for me personally, but Marg and I are going out there tonight, and we're looking forward to it. It always is a great time. Today, we continue budget hearings, and at 11 o'clock. We do not have a budget hearing at 10:30. That has been canceled. We do have one at 11 o'clock for the district attorney, and then this afternoon, we have budget hearings for the sheriff and our coroner's office. So just sort of a preview of coming attractions on that. So next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
I don't believe there's a need, so we're adjourned.